Mr. Graham Linehan. I want to thank you so much. I hope you watch this video and I hope you enjoy it. My name is Donna Warpath, and I want to thank you so much for what you're doing, Mr. Linehan, on Twitter and everywhere else, for all the stuff you're doing to protect biological women just like me and biological women all over the world. Thank you so much. Because, Mr. Linehan, I'm just like you. I hate those fucking transvestites. I fucking hate them. And this ain't about hate. As you know, Mr. Linehan, this has nothing to do with hate. Because I don't hate anybody. I just hate those fucking transvestites. I fucking hate them. Anyway, Mr. Linehan, you know what I was thinking, Mr. Linehan? You know who I blame for this trans bullshit? You know who I really blame for, Mr. Linehan? I blame everybody but you and me. Anyway, Mr. Linehan, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to say thank you, but I also wanted to say I'm sorry. Because I live in the United States of America, which means I won't be able to come to England to see you make your stand-up comedy debut at Comedy Unleashed, the home of free-thinking comedy. If it's funny, it's funny. If it's funny. Anyway, I see you making your stand-up debut, and I know it's got to be nerve-wracking, but I did see that you used to write some comedy. So because I love your tweets so much, I went back and I looked at what else you'd done, and I saw this Father Crowd, the IT TED or something. I didn't really understand it. But your tweets, I fucking love your fucking tweets. You know the ones I love? I love the ones where you share the picture of the fucking tranny with the little emoji you put at the side where the guy's laughing so much the tears come down his face. I fucking love it. Anyway, I had one question though. I'm looking at the lineup, and I know you like me. Like, you hate the fucking trannies. I get it. So I was kind of confused, like, why were there so many trannies on the bill with you that night? You got that fucking Miriam Ella, the fucking Tanya Edwards. Who's that fucking tranny Mary Bork? Fuck. And I thought, I don't know, maybe you don't have any control over this. I don't know, maybe you don't get to choose, but I would have liked to have seen some real biological women get some parts. You know, people like Andrew Doyle or James Dellingpole or Lawrence Fox or who's that little pixie? Constantine Kissin. Oh, she's good. Is she still going out with Francis Foster, by the way? Oh, God, the two of them, huh? The Harry and Meghan of the culture one, now. I want to thank you also, Mr. Linehan, for sticking up for Joe Rogan and his free speech rights. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. He's kind of an American hero, Joe Rogan. Anyway, thanks for that. You know, Mr. Linehan, I talk to my biological female friends sometimes, and I say, you know this guy Graham Linehan, he really gets us biological women. And they're like, yeah? Why do you say that? And I say, because Graham Linehan knows that biological women are so stupid, we need somebody like Graham Linehan to tell us what to think about transvestites. And the same goes for Joe Rogan. We need Joe Rogan to tell us what to think about Jews. I mean, come on! Jews do think about money sometimes. Hell, sometimes I look at my daughters. I wish they were dollars. Anyway, Mr. Linehan, I hope you like this. My friend Rita is kind of going through a messy divorce. And we were thinking about my biological girlfriends. We were thinking about what we could do to make Rita feel better. I thought, what should we do? Should we take her out to Vegas, see the Chippendales, you know, maybe hire a male stripper dressed up like a broadband installer? And I said, you know what I'd like to do? I would love to see Joe Rogan and Graham Linehan doing what men do best. Sitting in front of a flag and talking about video games and women. I know you've been persecuted, Mr. Linehan, because I've been persecuted too. Because I'm finding out that's what happens when you take on this battle to save biological women from extinction. 2 weeks ago, I'm in the computer room. My husband comes in. It's 4:30 in the morning. My eyes are bloodshot. He says, what are you doing? I said, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm looking at pictures of transvestites, you fucking asshole. He leaves. Comes back in 30 minutes later wearing one of my negligees. I said, what in the fuck are you doing? He says, I thought you were into transvestites. I said, no, you schmuck. I'm looking at pictures of transvestites that Graham Linehan is sharing so the two of us can stop women from being erased. He says, okay. Leaves. 30 minutes later, he comes back, same negligee. Now this time he's got a Graham Linehan mask on going tweet, 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 tweet. I said, what the fuck is this? He thought, you don't want this either? I said, no, well, you're getting close, but no cigar. And the kids are even worse, because I have daughters, Mr. Linehan. That's why I'm so involved in this fight. The other day, my youngest daughter says to me, Mommy, when are you going to stop tweeting and feed me? I said, I'll feed you when this culture war's over and our side wins. Because it ain't going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference that your stomach's growling if you've been erased. Now shut up, you little precocious bastard, and go to bed. Ugh. Ugh. This should be a law. Walk like a woman and talk like a man. And my other daughter's no better. She comes home from school the other day. She says, Mommy, what's a transvestite? I said, who taught you that word? She says, teacher. I said, okay, let's go see this teacher of yours. So I go down there and I meet this Mrs. Fluffelflaffen, Fleepelbaum, Fluffelheim, or whatever the fuck her name was. And I said, hey, what the fuck are you teaching my daughter? She says, arithmetic. I said, oh yeah? Add this up, motherfucker. She says you're teaching them transvestite shit. She says, no, it's a word problem. Pulls out a little blackboard. She says, 57 transvestites, take away 17 transvestites equal how many transvestites? I said, what in the fuck happened to apples as examples? I said, are you a biological woman like me? She says, yeah. I said, all right, prove it. She says, how? I said, write your name on that piece of paper. I look at her, I go, all right, yeah. She's a biological woman penmanship. She's got the little hearts over the eyes. I said, you know what you are? You're a fucking disgrace. And then I called her what you always called her, Mr. Linehan. I called her a dick-pandering handmaiden. And I'm sorry for my foul-mouthed, opinionated language, but yeah, I'm a foul-mouthed, opinionated whore, but at least I'm a biological, foul-mouthed, opinionated whore. And that's the way that I wanted to stay, and I always wanted to be that way for my Lola. And then I got another daughter. Oh, this one. She's just coming of age, right? She's 29 years old, just went off to college. You know about college, don't you, Mr. Linehan? University, I think you call it. Check this out. In order to pass one of her classes, she's got to marry a transvestite. Anyway, that daughter, don't get me started on her. Ever since she went off to university, she's got a head filled with facts. You know, all the time I have to tell her, I say, look, my facts don't care about your facts. Other day she says, Mom, do you know in this country, you're more likely to be killed by a male police officer than a transvestite? I said, okay. Let's say a male police officer knees me in the tits, puts my face on the stove, kidnaps me, shoves me in the trunk of his car, drives me out to a park and sets fire to my body. At least it's a man doing it to me. And I'd rather have that than some fucking tranny asking me about false eyelashes. What the fuck do I know about false eyelashes? I know quite a lot, actually, about false eyelashes. I'm starting a little company. It's called Be the You That You Can Be. And it's like 2 E's for the second B because it's like a bumblebee. Because we use little bumblebee legs to make them. And that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Mr. Linehan. I don't know if I got this story from you. Maybe it was Andrew Doyle. Maybe I heard it from Konstantin Kisin. Maybe I just made it up. I don't know. But either way, it's still scary. Apparently, there is a biological woman, just like me, in Utah. And she started this kind of 24-hour shower service in the middle of the desert for young, attractive women. Would you believe, Mr. Linehan, there are men that are trying to infiltrate this 24-hour in the middle of the desert shower experience for young, attractive women? God knows why. And again, I don't know if I got that story from you or maybe James Dellingpole, maybe GB News, could have been Piers Morgan. It could have even been me, like I said. But you know what? Even if it is, it's really scary. Because you might identify with this, Mr. Linehan. I find, don't you, that the stories that I make up in my head are sometimes even scarier than the news. This is happening all over the world. You know, Mr. Linehan, I gotta be honest with you. Oh my God, I feel like I'm dancing with you. Mr. Linehan, I gotta be honest. You know, I realize when this battle's over, this battle to protect women's safe spaces, this battle that we will win when we shove those fucking trannies back into the fucking closet where they fucking belong, there's still a lot of work to do. I think you should take on male potheads next. Because sometimes they end up in the women's safe spaces. Not because they want to be women, but because they're so fucking stoned, they're fucking hippies. Then, Mr. Linehan, you should take on blind men. Because they end up in women's toilets too, because they're blind. And they stand there all day trying to sell fucking pencils. And then, Mr. Linehan, I want you to take on male baby alligators who find their way up the sewer pipes and bite me on the fucking ass. Because a predator is a predator, Mr. Linehan. Whether it's a transvestite or an alligator or a transvestite with an alligator handbag. Anyway, Mr. Linehan, I really just want to say thank you again for everything you've done for us biological women and keeping our spaces safe. And I also want to say I'm sorry that I can't be there in person to support you in your stand-up comedy debut coming out party. And I know you're probably busy with other stuff like apologizing to Count Dankula or sitting on Paul Joseph Watson's lap or stroking the thigh of Sargon of Akkad. But if you happen to be free on the 28th of February, and I know this is a long shot, but I was talking with my biological girlfriends, Rita, Ruthie, Rosie, and Rambo, and we were saying, you know what? Graham Linehan has done so much for us gals, we ought to do something for him. So, if you happen to be free on the 28th of February, we'd love for you to come out to our little town of Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and have kind of a girls' night out with us. We're going to go see this great new documentary at the theater called Silence of the Lambs. And then afterwards, we were thinking, because you've done so much to save women's spaces, we would be absolutely honored, Mr. Linehan, if you would consider cutting the ribbon on a brand new ladies' toilet at the Sheboygan Mall. We're going to call it the Graham Linehan Memorial Ladies' Toilet. Anyway, it's a long shot, no pressure. But if you happen to make it and you happen to cut the ribbon, why not just come inside at our invitation? I mean, yeah, you're a man, but hey, at least you're not a fucking transvestite. Anyway, like I say, no pressure, but it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great ladies' toilet. There's going to be crafts and music and dancing. And the best part is, Mr. Linehan, and this is something I suspect you probably wanted for quite some time. You get to piss with the gals. I work hard, I play even harder.